Bonjour tout le monde. Hello ladies and gentlemen and everyone else watching. Thank you for tuning into Dave Listens to Hi-Fi. So today I wanted to talk to you about my audiophile philosophy, kind of the 5 points that really define who I am in terms of my listening preferences and what I think about audio equipment and music and everything in general. So these are kind of 5 points that really give you context around who I am, so when you're watching my videos it gives you a good idea of where I'm coming from. So let's dive into the 5 things that I think about audio. Number 5, I am an audiophile. Now I know this word has some negative connotations for some people, but I think it really is a great word that succinctly defines what it is we are. We're audiophiles. We love the sound. We love rhythms and melodies and timbre and texture and oral environments. And the ability that, with our equipment we can create these beautiful sounds and music in our own room. So it's the sounds and the creation of these sounds that we love. And so, I think anyone who loves that is an audiophile. I think we should, reappropriate this word and call ourselves audiophiles proudly, because that really does define what we like. So if you want to join me and we'll climb up to the rooftops and shout out, I am an audiophile, because that's what I think. Number 4, the absolute sound / as the artist intended. So the absolute sound is the sound of primarily classical music as performed in a concert hall. And another often repeated axiom is as the artist intended. Now both these expressions kind of exclaim that there is one sound, one type of sound, one presentation that is the ideal, and every other presentation is lacking. So, when you close your eyes, it should be indistinguishable from the original performance, which, absolutely has merit. The thing is, 99% of the music that we play on our systems is only really sound when we play it back. If you think of, even simple jazz recordings from the 50s to modern pop music, some sort of artistic trickery or computer-generated sounds or something is done to alter the sound of the actual instruments. If you went back, even if you listen to if you were in the recording studio where a 60s jazz quartet was being recorded, what you would hear in that studio is not what's on the record, because there are multiple microphones and there's different stuff used. And then today, you look at some electronic music, it doesn't actually exist until you play it back on your stereo. So to me, there is no absolute sound for the majority of the music. And as the artist intended, the artist is, the musician or the mastering engineer or the mixer. When they're creating music, I hear stories about them, playing it back on a cell phone or playing it back in a car stereo or something, so that they can see what it sounds like, and so they can mix accordingly. And really, as the artist intended, the playback is really just playing back on something. It's not, that they're hoping that you hear the original instruments, because the original instruments sometimes don't exist in the case of synthesizers and stuff. It's not sound until you play it back. So by that kind of definition, when you play it back, that's the original performance, and that's what it sounds like. Inherently, that's the actual sound. So I think the artists really intend to connect you to their emotions and their feelings and their music. And so if you play something back and you're enjoying it and you're grooving to it, I think that's really what the artist intended. And I still accept that there are some good sounds and there are some bad sounds. There are good components and bad components. But really, these are components that allow you to connect to the music. So if you're listening to something on a stereo and it doesn't sound right, or it's bothering you or something, that's not a good component. That's not what the artist intended. If I play something back on my system the way it's set up now, I really like the way it sounds. I can play back good recordings, bad recordings, and I can hear what's happening. I can hear, the music, the emotion, the intention, the rhythms, the playfulness, all of it. And that really connects me to the music. So I think that is as the artist intended. And I think that is how we should judge our systems, by how connected we are and how well we can hear and enjoy the music. Number 3, it all matters. Amplifiers sound different. Speakers sound different. Phono cartridges sound different from each other. Turntables sound different. Tone arms sound different. Cables sound different. The support that you put under your CD transport sounds different. Everything matters. Now, I may be going out on a limb here, and I know a lot of you know it, but you know, every little change you can make makes a difference. Everything isn't always audible on every system, but every change has the potential to make a difference, whether we can measure it or not. I mean, our ears are evolved from tens of thousands of years to pick up things, and you know, there's a time component that's not really visible when you do static electronic measurements on components, but you know, I've heard it, I know many people have heard it. When you make a change of a cable or an amplifier or a phono cartridge or some other thing, you're going to hear it, and the potential is to hear it. I mean, really the best tools are right here. Put it on, see if it makes a difference. If you can hear it, great. If you can't hear it, it doesn't make a difference for you, and that's fine, and that's a perfectly valid opinion. But I know, and a lot of people know, everything matters, and the idea of making changes and hearing differences is part of the fun of the hobby, and you know, it's all real. And it has the potential, but it's not all real all the time, and it's, you know, not always a big change, and it's not always worth the money. But there are differences, and everything does matter. Price point and value. So I'm operating on a budget. I mean, technically everyone's operating on a budget, but there's a big difference between the cheap audio man and Jay's Audio Lab. And it's not just the fact that Jay could probably beat Randy in an arm wrestle. No, the difference is many zeros. Now, when you evaluate a component, you evaluate it on its absolute sound quality. But you also have to look at its price point and its intended use. So a component that's inexpensive and, you know, goes for less on the used market but sounds great, this is a wonderful component and will get great accolades from me. If you look at a really expensive component that sounds really good but maybe not as good as other components in that price range, then that component's not going to be as good, you know, even if it sounds better than the other one, because we're also looking at the intended use and the intended market. So price point is one, value is another, sound quality is another, and you know, I'm going to try to highlight them all, but definitely a component needs to sound really good for its intended use for me to be really excited about it. And the number one item on this list, have fun. So hi-fi can be a very serious business. I mean, you break the cantilever of a $10,000 moving coil cartridge, all of a sudden that's kind of a serious situation. There are some people who take themselves very seriously, they take their two-channel system very seriously, and I appreciate their passion around that, but you know, I want to have fun, I want to enjoy it. I mean, you put on a piece of music that you love and you're listening to it and it sounds great, you're happy and you're having fun. You get a new component and you put it in your system, you hook it up, you turn the knobs, they feel great, and then you put on some music and it sounds wonderful again. You're having fun, you're enjoying it. That's what I want this to be about. Everyone has opinions. People's opinions aren't always the same, but that diversity and that difference of opinion is one thing that makes this whole thing wonderful. So, you know, we're very privileged to enjoy music on our systems. Let's be thankful of that. Let's be grateful. Let's be happy, and let's have fun. So that's my list. Thanks for watching Dave Listens to Hi-Fi. If you liked the video, give it a like. If you want to see more of this stuff, subscribe. Check me out on Patreon, Dave Listens to Hi-Fi. If you join Patreon, that'll help me to access more components that I can test and bring to you guys. I'm also posting some sound samples of my system, so you can get some good comparisons going on there. And I'm going to pick up a DAC tonight, so pretty soon I'll have a new DAC review for you. Again, thanks for all for watching. If you have any comments, please leave them down below. I'm going to read them all and respond to as many as I can. And thanks again. Take care. We'll see you next time.